In case you want to start reading books written by Carl Jung, but you're not really sure where to start, then you've come to the right video. So Carl Jung has written quite an extensive number of books, and these books they differ a lot when it comes to their difficulty. As such, some books they're clearly more suitable to beginners than others. In case you picked the wrong book to begin with, as I did, I picked Aeon, which turned out to be way too complicated, then you run the risk of getting stuck and being unmotivated to continue, which would of course be a shame. So what then would be a better option? Well, I think the answer to this question depends a lot on your own personal preference. So therefore I've listed 4 books throughout this video, and also explain why you might want to choose for one of these options. So the first option on this list may be a bit controversial because it's still quite complicated. It's Carl Jung's Red Book. I've included it on this list because I think it's Jung's most important and most interesting books, and still, compared to some other books, relatively easy to understand. So throughout the Red Book, Carl Jung is essentially interacting with his own unconscious. And even though the Red Book may be a bit mysterious and perhaps even quite bizarre, Jung would himself later argue that it was the source of all of his most important ideas. As such, if you feel a bit adventurous and want to acquire a good understanding on how Jung developed his ideas, then I think the Red Book is a great place to start. Because after reading the Red Book, all of Jung's other works, they will make more sense since you know the origin of the ideas discussed throughout his later books as well. However, it must also be noted that Jung used his later works to further develop the ideas from the Red Book, as well as to find a scientific basis for these ideas. As such, if you are someone who is not quick to be convinced of some more mystical and spiritual ideas, then I think it may be better to begin with one of the other books on this list. In that case, I think that Man and the Symbols is probably a safer option. Man and the Symbols is also the book which is most commonly recommended to those wanting to start reading Jung. And this is of course not without reason, since Man and the Symbols was also meant to be to provide its reader with a clear overview of Jung's most important and interesting ideas. However, I think that the main downside of this book is that only the first part was written by Carl Jung himself, and the other parts were written by Jung's associates. As such, if you really want to learn about Jung's ideas in Jung's own words, then I think Man and the Symbols may not be the best place to start. In that case, I would recommend a book called The Portable Young, which was also not written by Jung himself directly, but was compiled by one of the most important contributors to the development of Jung's ideas after Jung's death, which is Joseph Campbell. However, what makes this book different from Man and the Symbols is the fact that Joseph Campbell's book is a collection of Jung's own essays compiled in a specific order. As a result, you're still reading about Jung's ideas in Jung's own words. Moreover, Joseph Campbell promises the reader that due to the specific selection of essays and the order in which they are compiled, this book prepares its reader properly for a successful further exploration of Jung's ideas. So the last book on this list is probably the best option. It's called Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and it is Jung's autobiography. So throughout this book, the reader will get a clear overview of who Jung was as a person, how he developed his ideas, and what these ideas were. As such, I think it's a great place to start for those interested in starting to read Jung. Not only will Memories, Dreams, Reflections provide you with a good and easy to understand overview of Jung's ideas in Jung's own words, it will also provide you with a good understanding of who Jung was as a person. And I think such an understanding is extremely useful when you continue reading more complicated books written by Carl Jung. So to conclude, I think there are many different opinions when it comes to the best Carl Jung book for beginners, and I think in the end it mostly depends on your own personal preferences. I think Memories, Dreams, Reflections and The Portable Jung, they are the best options in case you want to acquire a clear overview of Jung's ideas in Jung's own words. In case you do not really mind learning about the ideas of Jung from the perspective of some of Jung's associates, then I think Man and the Symbols is probably a great place to start as well. In case you want to get right to the core of Carl Jung's ideas, then I think the Red Book is probably worth trying. So personally, I believe that all of these books on this list will give you a really good, solid basis for continuing your journey with Carl Jung's ideas. So in case you've already read some books by Jung yourself, then please let me know in the comments which books you would recommend for beginners. In case you like this content, then also please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. So thank you and have a nice day.